Right, I suppose the most important question we'll start with is a little bit about yourself and why you're, well, interested in sustainability.
Okay, so my name's Hatfield. I am the co-founder of SHOO, which is a marketing consultancy, and also the founder of a community company which is called Fashion Fiesta, which helps support emerging fashion designers, makeup artists and models and other creatives to give them a community where they can sort of help survive, thrive and grow. So that's kind of a little bit about me. The reason why I'm kind of interested in sustainable fashion is probably stems from a very long time ago, from when I was a student, and my body shape changes all the time. So I lose weight, I gain weight, I lose weight, I gain weight, and it was very much around, well, what do we do with all these clothes that no longer fit me? And I felt really bad that they were just going to be, there was nothing wrong with them. And I felt really bad that they were just going to sort of get left behind. How could it, like, it was such a waste of materials. So I started sort of, and that's when I started sort of sending them to the sort of charity shops and stuff like that. We didn't have all, when I was like your age, we didn't have all the fancy things that we have now. So it was very much like, well, why are we wasting all this stuff? And then I got into the habit of buying quality and spending a bit more money, sort of keeping things for longer. As far as I could, and that's just kind of where my interest has come from, is just how we can reuse things and repurpose things.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen a change in the last, couple of years since, or even when you began, sort of?
Yeah, I think people are a bit more open to it now, so they're open to kind of repurposing stuff rather than buying new, but also I'm seeing fast fashion still a thing, even sort of 20 years later. That's not changed, and I think I don't know whether that's just because people just want something and they want it now, because we've got that very much kind of culture, and we can instantly buy something, it's delivered the next day. And a lot of the time I kind of feel that people just don't know enough about it as well, and how it really affects kind of like the rest of the world in terms of what that impact is. So I think there's a lot of stuff to go, but actually it can be quite cool to have like things that are either repurposed, the materials we use to make into new garments. So I think it's a bit of a mix. I think there are people who are very much like, I'd love to go and like get this sustainable fashion, but I do feel when I'm sat there on TikTok reading comments that people are just not bothered as well.
Yeah.
So I find that a little bit scary, because that is a younger generation that is on there, and it's just so easy to buy from TikTok shop or Shein or whatever. So I kind of feel like, what's happened?
Yeah.
We've got this. I think it's very polarised.
It's tricky to say, I think, because like I feel like there's definitely more vintage shops and things that
Yeah.
younger generations will buy from. But then we've got the struggle of the online sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I think it's like the cost of everything. People can't afford to spend a little bit more money on something that's a bit more quality, or they don't, or they may not choose to want to save up for something and just wait a few months because they want it instantly, rather than, do you know what, like I remember kind of when I was a kid I had to save up for stuff and then I could buy something, whereas that instant thing is not happening anymore because people want to be on trend, rather than waiting and feeling really proud that you saved up and that's your money, you paid for it.
I think that's quite accurate.
Yeah.
Especially for young people, yeah. They feel the need to get it straight away rather than waiting before it goes out.
Yeah, and not only that, I think it's quite hard as well, because like that sort of the trend of social media gives you that pressure sometimes because you want to fit in, whereas sometimes if you break the mold, people think, why are you making a mold, why are you wearing something different? But then sometimes that classy piece, I've got dresses in my wardrobe that I've had since I was 18 that I can still wear now because the material's that good. It hasn't gone out of fashion, and I can sort of like, we can't fit into it anymore, but it's still there, and I could give it away to somebody, but it's got memories attached to that dress as well, so I don't want to just give it away. So it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? I think it's down to kind of what the media is pushing through in social media. You want to keep on trend with everybody. You don't want to be wearing skinny jeans when everyone else is wearing baggy jeans type of thing. So that's where the sort of challenge is.
Would you say you face any challenges in this?
Not really. I think with Fashion Fiesta, I think a lot of fashion designers now are very much about repurposing, reusing or sourcing locally in terms of fabrics. So I think education, if you're in that world you're training to be a fashion designer or pattern cutter or whatever sector you want to go in, people are starting to be more aware about what fabrics they're choosing. So we've had quite a lot of fashion designers come to Fashion Fiesta. They've either sourced locally, so they might be using more natural products like wool, for example, which we have here in Yorkshire, or they're sort of going to stalls or being donated clothes that are unwanted that fashion designers can like make look really cool again and then resell and repurpose, so it doesn't have to go into landfill. But we have got a little bit stricter with our questions and our entry requirements into the show, just to make sure that they are doing that and it stands kind of for what our values are and we believe in.
Would you say you would give any advice to younger generations to be more sustainable?
I think break the mold, stop following trends, and just be yourself and have that confidence to be yourself, I think is a key thing. Because I think we all follow a fashion just because we want to fit in. And actually, if we break the mold and wear something that we love and we are going to cherish forever, that problem won't be there. And maybe we have to save up for things now because everything is so expensive, and learning how to sort of manage money better. And I think that comes through education and just understanding, because that cost of living, we've got to have that balance. So maybe we buy something that costs maybe £100 instead because you're donating, but it'll last maybe for 10 years or something.
Rather than just a few weeks.
Yeah, just a few weeks, just because it's trendy, because it's summer.
Yeah.
Let's like see what we can, and I think some other sectors are really good at that. Because the fashion doesn't move as quickly, so it depends what you want. And I think because I'm an equestrian in terms of my hobbies and stuff like that, and we're always patching up our rugs for our horses, or we're always thrifting through leather and stuff, and we're always exchanging kind of and going to sort of second-hand sort of sales and stuff to buy things for our horses and things like that, because it is such an expensive hobby. But actually there is so much there, it just needs a good clean and it just needs sprucing up. So but that isn't as accessible. I think if more things were accessible to people and it was made easier, then things like handbags and stuff could be repurposed or cleaned up or made to look brand new again.
Do you hope to see much change in the next few years with sustainable fashion?
I'd like to see it, and I'd love to see like more sustainable fashion being an option, but I think the cost of living at the moment is just so high that I think there's going to be pushback from people who cannot afford to buy sustainable fashion. So we're going to have to think of ways where it's going to be economically more cost effective for people to buy on a commercial basis. It's great that the education sector is pushing it, but people are just automatically, I mean, your generation, that 18 to 25-year-old, they just see things on TikTok shop, hit buy, and that isn't sustainable fashion. It's not helping, so we're not making it easy for people to buy. That customer journey isn't great at the moment. We need to think of ways. You guys don't go out on Saturday afternoon anymore to go shopping, which was something I used to do when I was like, I used to go for like, we just used to go out on an afternoon and go shopping.
I find there's less variety of clothing in shops now as well because of all the online. Because I always go, oh, they don't have my size, so I may as well just shop
Exactly, that's it. So there's none of that, whereas we didn't have that luxury because the internet was still quite new when I was a student and stuff. So you couldn't just automatically buy something, you had to physically go into a shop and try it on and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be polarised over the next sort of 5 years. I would have hoped that we would have been like further on in terms of by now, like 20 years
from what
later,
you've seen,
from what I've seen, but we're just not, because there's obviously companies out there that can just make things for so cheap, which is wrong in one way, but then they're a business, aren't they? So they're going to do it anyway. So because people need to, as we know, people need to pay their bills and do everything else. But I'd like to see a way of how we can sort of move forward and make it affordable for people. I think that's what people are probably a bit worried about. Even though we've got the kind of vintage and stuff like that, I still look at the price and I think they're still quite costly.
Can be, yeah, because people maybe sell things on vintage that they know they're going to get some profit.
Exactly, so it's a business again, they need to have some profit, they want to make some money and stuff like that. So until we can find some kind of balance, I don't I think it's going to be really polarised and tricky.
I think that sums up most of the questions.
Good.
And yeah, thank you for
No problem.